Good afternoon, Rotarians and friends. I'm Teresa Holmes, Club President. Thank you for joining us today. We're going to have a great program. Today's meeting is sponsored by Alex Vitani and Badger Sports Properties. I know he's here somewhere. Our thanks for their support of today's luncheon. We open our meeting with the sad news of the death of our longtime Rotarian, Boris Frank. Yeah. Boris passed away on August 6th at the age of 89. Boris first joined Rotary in the West Indies in 1960 and was a member of the Madison West Rotary for 2 years, and then joined our club in 1976. Rotary meant so much to Boris during his 45 years in the club. He was deeply committed to our club, having served on many committees, was on our board for 2 terms, and was recognized with our club's Senior Service Award in 2001. Boris was also a Paul Harris Fellow. Our club has made a $100 contribution in Boris's name to our Madison Rotary Foundation to establish a memorial in his name. Anyone wishing to make a gift to this fund may send their contributions to our Rotary office. We extend our sympathies to Boris's son, Greg, who is a member also of our club, and to their entire family. Let's pause for a moment of silence as we remember our Rotary friend, Boris Frank. Thank you. Opening music. Let's direct our attention to the music. Oh, there she is. Casey Oakers will lead us in singing our patriotic song, This Land Is Your Land, with Jeff Bartell on the keyboard, and followed by that will be our featured song, Stand By Me. Immediately following our music, guests will be introduced by Maggie Porter Krantz.
Hey, this land is your land. This land is your land, this land is my land, from California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. As I was walking that ribbon of highway, I saw above me endless skyway. I saw below me a golden valley. This land was made for you and me. This land is your land, this land is my land, from California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. Okay, our next song is Stand By Me, and this is Ben E. King, the writer of the song and the singer. He is an R&B and soul singer, and he sang lead vocals in the doo-wop band The Drifters in the late 1950s. You may know his voice from hits such as Save the Last Dance for Me and This Magic Moment. He left the band in 1960 and went on to a solo career. He co-wrote and recorded the song Stand By Me, which was released in 1961. It was the 4th most played song of the 20th century and has been covered by over 400 artists. In 2015, shortly before he died, his recording of the song was inducted into the Library of Congress's National Recording Registry, which preserves tracks that are considered culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant. So please sing along if you know it, and let's also snap or clap on the offbeats. Here we go. When the night has come and the land is dark and the moon is the only light we'll see. No, I won't be afraid. No, I won't be afraid. Just as long as you stand by me. So darling, darling, stand by me. stand by me, stand by me. If the sky that we look upon should tumble and fall, or the mountains should crumble to the sea, I won't cry, no, I won't shed a tear, just as long as you stand by me. And darling, darling, stand by me, oh, stand by me, oh, stand now. Stand by me, whenever you're in trouble, won't you stand by me, oh, stand by me, whoa, stand now, stand by me, stand by me.
Good job.
Good afternoon and welcome to our guests. Please stand when I call your name and remain standing so we can welcome you as a group. Jonathan Boyce, guest of Alex Fatani. Lori Dorn, guest of Mary Thompson. Marissa Young, guest of Tara Grays. Trenton Grant, guest of Susan Schmitz. John Kearns, former UW-Rotary president, guest of Melanie Ramey. Mitchell Simmons, Tracy Williams, guest of Teresa Holmes. Katina McLinn, guest of Teresa Holmes. Isabel Melendez, guest of Winsey Melendez. And Kelly Rodriguez, guest of Victor Rodriguez. Please join me in welcoming them.
All right. We have birthdays to celebrate with a bit of wisdom or humor that complements our Rotary mission. We also encourage members to make an age-appropriate gift to the Madison Rotary Foundation, rounded up to $100 for our club's Synergy Scholarship Fund. You'll hear some more information about that today. If you are in the room rotating when I call your name, please stand. Are we ready? Yes. August 8th, Sarah Best. August 9th, Tony Wilkenbart. August 10th, past President Christine Beatty. August 11th, Vice President Paul Hoffman. August 11th, Gloria Reyes. August 11th, Bev Simone. August 12th, Marsha Whittington. August 13th, Brian Baskin. August 13th, Shirley Baum. August 14th, Jim Cole, who shares a quote from Bill Copeland. The trouble with not having a goal is that you can spend your life running up and down the field and never scoring. August 14th, Impoli Simzwana Johnson. All right. Thank you to our celebrants for their contributions to the Madison Rotary Foundation. Please join me in wishing them a happy birthday. Birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday, dear. We love our music. Rumors in the news that will appear in our newsletter in case you want to refer to those. Kurt Brink was mentioned in the Q&A section article titled Brink Brings Development, Chops to Capitol East Corridor, featuring his son, Ed Brink, in the Capitol Times on August 4th. Tom DeShant was pictured and quoted in an article about the Madison Public Library's book sale that was held on August 7th, Wisconsin State Journal on August 8th. Emily Grunwald has recently been named to a 6-person shared leadership team at the Overture Center in Business Magazine, August 21st. Dan Olson was quoted in an article titled Monona Grove School District to Require Masks for All in the Fall. And congratulations to Jen Savino, whose business, KW2, has recently been certified as a woman-owned business enterprise by the state of Wisconsin. That'll be in Business Magazine, August 21st. We hold our monthly board meeting on August 2nd. And our thanks to Charles McLymans, who's in the room, for hosting our meeting this past Monday at Holy Wisdom Monastery. I encourage members to review our board minutes that we post in the member login section on the club's website. We want our members to see the current board members, so each month we ask one of those board members to introduce a speaker. This month, Brian Baskin will make this introduction. Brian joined our Rotary Club in 2013, and he is the owner of Pearson Engineering, and is in his first year of a 2-year term on our board. Brian has double duty today and is actually in Janesville video recording Lou Harnet's biplane flight. Lou is still flying, you guys. We love it, we love it. So we actually have Brian on video. So, of course, Brian has plenty of experience in handling video recordings, right? As he's been helping and facilitating our hybrid meetings and video recordings of our own luncheon. So we're very thankful for that, and we know how easy it is for him to set up equipment and create this recorded introduction. So we're going to actually listen to Brian's introduction of our speaker, and then right after that, you'll hear from our speaker for today.
Thank you, President Teresa. Our speaker today is Marisa Moseley. She is a native of Springfield, Massachusetts, and holds a bachelor's degree in sociology from Boston University. Marisa will enter her first season as head coach of the Wisconsin women's basketball program. Prior to being named the Badger head coach, she was head coach at Boston University and led the turnaround of a program to include 3 straight winning seasons. She also spent 9 years as an assistant coach at the University of Connecticut and was an assistant coach at Minnesota and Denver. Today, Coach Moseley will tell us what it takes to build a championship program, focusing upon her history as both coach and leader, as well as her expectations of the program. We look forward to her presentation, and we have made a contribution to the Rotary International Polio Plus Fund as a way to say thanks for speaking to us today. I also want to mention that we will have Q&A with our speaker at the end as time allows, but please wait for the microphone if you have a question. Let's welcome Coach Marisa Moseley to our podium. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. I did not realize that we were going to be singing so much. I would have prepared a song for you all as well. I could go off the cuff, but I don't think you guys are ready for this. And I'm waiting for my American Idol tryout. My name is Marisa Moseley, but I really do appreciate you having me here today. As you can tell, I like to have a good time. I like to make people laugh, so hopefully we'll have some good chuckles along the way. But I also want to let you know that part of building a championship program is not taking yourself too seriously. I know that I have an incredible opportunity and honored to be the Badger women's basketball coach, but at the same time, I know that it's a privilege and not a right. So I really take that responsibility really seriously, and I appreciate that you all have joined us here, and I expect to see you at every single one of our games. Thank you. Okay. So building a championship program, a couple of things I wanted to talk to you about today. So one of the things is I have this sign in my office. I always joke with my staff that I should be an influencer. For those of you who don't know what that is, people who are on social media and they tell you about products that you should buy, and then all of a sudden you're like, I need that too. I do that, but I don't get paid for it. So if anybody's looking for a product to be endorsed, I'm your girl. But I have this sign that came up on my Instagram that says, everything starts with an idea. And so I loved it, and it's Mitchell, my director of ops here, who joined me, helped me just hang it just so, because I'm also very anal, so it just had to be the right height, and everything had to be the right location and everything else. And so I love it because when you walk in my office, it's the first thing you see. And for me, everything really does start with an idea, and the idea to become a basketball coach the idea to come to Madison and take on a program who, you know, I don't hide from it. We've had 10 years of not winning, right? And so some people might say, why would you come here? Like, what was the draw? For me, the draw was this incredible community, an incredible institution. You know, the academics here are second to none. I felt like we played in a great conference in the Big Ten, and for me, the challenge of knowing that we had everything that was possible and all of the tools available to become a championship program, and I wanted that challenge. I took on the same challenge at my alma mater at Boston. Before I got there, we had 5 years of losing. And at my first year at Connecticut, I had come from UConn, and UConn is synonymous with excellence and with winning. We had won 5 national championships in my 9 years. We had gone to the Final Four 9 times, and it was incredible. And I can't remember what the wins record was, but I knew that we had lost 14 games in my 9 years. 14 games in 9 years. Go ahead and just a round of applause for that. Yeah. It's wild. I lost 14 games in my first year at Boston, and I was like, but we won 15, so that was our first winning season. We were picked to finish 9th that first year, and we finished 4th. And so what I learned in that year, among a lot of other things, was that once you set the standards, once you set an expectation to win, the rest will follow because they have direct marching orders of what they want to do. Everyone, as you all know in your businesses, they just want to know what you want them to do, and then you show them how we're going to do it, and then they follow those marching orders. So how you might ask, will I get us there? All right, so I believe in a holistic approach to coaching and to building a championship program. I don't think it's only about winning. I think that we have to make sure that the people understand what we're about and how and what we're built upon. So it starts with an expectation of excellence, and then and also an expectation to win. Once you establish that expectation of excellence, you will create the expectation to win, and for us, the lifeline of our program is recruiting. So if we don't have great players, it doesn't matter how great of a coach or the culture or anything else. We have to have great players first, and whenever you're putting together an organization, for me, when I was hiring my staff, the 2 things I always looked for, great people who are also winners. Once you have that combination, you can teach people everything else that you want, but you need to have people who are, you know, unshakable from their core as being a good person at the beginning, and then you also have to be people who know how to win. Because teaching people how to win is a really difficult thing, but there's certain people who that's how they're built. They're winners. Not to say we can't teach people how to win, because we're going to, but you have to have that mentality that they also expect to win, and they want to be a part of something really great. So, for our prospects, we institute for them a culture of consistency, excellence, and doing things the right way. So now I've established 5 pillars of how we're going to do that, right? So I tell them, you know, you always want something cute, like a little acronym that, you know, I don't know what you all use for your acronyms here. Maybe it's in a song, I'm not sure. But for ours, I might, no, it doesn't work, but I'm going to work on it. But ours is WISC Legacy, so WISC Legacy. So it stands for a winning mindset, integrity, selflessness, communication, and that leads to our legacy. So we talk to them about those 5 pillars and how we're going to build upon those things. So the first one, winning mindset, the way we define it. We embrace competition in its purest form and have an unwavering expectation to win in all that we do. So we want to create a healthy environment of competition, pushing one another to be the best version of themselves every single day. And you, yourselves, and this applies to anyone, you only know what your best is, right? So as a coach, I can say, was that your best? And then you have to be able to look in the mirror and say, yes, that was my best. That was absolutely everything I had. And every day that could be different, but we're always trying to be better than we were the day before. We don't operate with a fixed mindset. We operate with a growth mindset. So everything that we're doing, it's how can I get better? Where was I today? How can I be better tomorrow, the next day, and so forth. We also try to highlight what they do really well while we hide what they don't do well and work on that at practice. So I'm going to put my players in position, or you all can put your people in your organization in position to be successful, the things they do really well. At the same time, you're working on how can we get better at that skill set that we're not so great at. Not denying it, not kind of forgetting about it, because as people, we all do things that make us feel really good, right? So you're always, if it's a basketball player, if you're really good at shooting threes, you're going to go out and shoot threes. And your left hand is terrible, you're not going to work on your left hand because it doesn't feel good, right? Because you're failing. So you want to do things that make you feel good. But at the same time, if we don't work on that left hand, it's going to get exposed. And now we're not as good as we can be in a holistic way. So we're always trying to put them in positions to be successful. So when we're in the game, we're going to make sure you get open threes, but when we're in practice, we're going to be really working on that left hand. Maybe for you, it's your singing voice. I don't know. I am a consummate learner. See, there's a theme here. I'm a consummate learner. I challenge my players to never lose that hunger for knowledge. To me, I collect people. Like some people collect things, I collect people. I love meeting new people. You were all my new friends. Thank you. But I really love to find out more about people. Maybe it's my sociology background. I think, people are fascinating and the connections that we make. And that's why this last COVID year has been really challenging, because one of the things that I thrive on is making connections with people and them helping me and me helping them and learning from them, from their experiences. We all have something that we bring to the table that's different, and I think that's what makes us unique and also what makes us great. Another thing that I'm huge on, and Mitchell can attest to this, is preparation. To me, the more prepared you are, the more ready you will be to be a winner, and so that expectation then, that opportunity meets preparation, you're ready to go. But we also normalize making mistakes, right? We want to make sure that our kids, we call them kids. I just have to tell you this. One of the kids that is coming in for us this next fall, so she's a part of our first signing class. I was talking to her about this movie. I'm not sure if any of you are familiar. It's called Along Came Polly, but it has a great basketball scene. You should Google it later. It's hilarious. Anyway, I was like, oh, have you heard of this movie? And she's like, no, I haven't. And I looked it up. I was like, oh, it came out in 2004. I was like, it was a little while ago. She was like, Coach, I was born in 2004. I was like, I graduated from college in 2004, and right now, my soul hurts. But it's totally fine. It's fine. We survived, and we will be better for it. So anyway, I say that to say that, we want to make sure that they understand that we're constantly moving, we're constantly growing. I'm not sure why I told you that story. Oh, normalizing mistakes. Sometimes mistakes happen. Like I thought that she might actually know the date of that movie. It's totally fine. So winning mindset's our first one. Second one is integrity. We have an unshakable moral compass that guides our decisions, relationships, and actions. We individually act with the integrity and hold our teammates responsible to do so also. Responsibility is a big word in our program because oftentimes you hear in sports or in business, accountability. You have to be accountable for this. You have to be accountable for that. But we actually tried to change that to responsibility, because if you're responsible to someone else, then you feel an innate responsibility, an innate duty to that person. If you're accountable, it has a negative connotation. You're like, oh, here you go, this is my accountability partner. You work out, who wants an accountability partner? It's like, oh gosh, you're not there on time. But if you're responsible, you actually feel like you have onus over that, and you want to make sure that you're responsible to the person next to you. Everybody has a role on our team. We have 14 players on our team, but we can't have 14 superstars. It's impossible to have that. And any organization, and really in a relationship, there's a superstar in every relationship, and then there's that supporting cast. If you're not the superstar, you might, that's for you to decide. I'm not here to make any issues with your relationships. But for us, we talk about there can't be 14 superstars, but you do have to be a star in your role, right? So whatever your role is, you have to own that role, and you have to be the best that you can be in that role. And that comes with that integrity, that comes with that trust, okay? And then once we've defined those roles, we need to give them clear marching orders and so that everyone's on the same page. One of the things that I'm going to leave with you all, there's so many things I've left with you already, but one of the things I'm going to leave with you all that I think would be great when we talk about evaluations of your staff or people is areas that you glow and then areas where you want to grow, right? So instead of like, what's your area's opportunity, and you SWOT and you do all this stuff, but when you tell people like areas that you glow, they light up like, yes, this is something I do really well. And then areas where you want to grow, it's like there's an opportunity here, but it doesn't feel like you're, it's something that you're good at and something you're good at. And people are always like, whenever I say it to them, a little smile comes and it makes them feel good, right? You felt good about that. I felt it. So in basketball, oftentimes people get caught up in who the starters are, and I believe that the true success comes from the people coming off the bench, right? So those people we deem difference makers, right? So they're difference makers in the game and the game of life. You have to have people who are supporting that initial kind of front runners, and you got to have people who are coming off the bench, and those are the folks who can actually make a difference. And if you empower them to be difference makers initially from the start, and you tell them this is not about like, oh, you're a bench player, you're a bench warmer, subs, all those kinds of things, again, have negative connotations. And words have meaning and words matter. We recently did a talk with we have a director of meditation, and he told us that 80% of all of our thoughts as people are negative. 80%. Okay, so how you speak to yourself, and constantly, you have to be really intentional about the words that you say to yourself and the words that you say to others. And so again, words matter. So when we call you a difference maker instead of a bench warmer, it's going to make a difference in how you look at yourself and the way that you're going to approach our team. I've always been a stickler for fairness and honesty and authenticity. I couldn't probably made all those jokes if I wasn't. But your integrity is what drives this. It's what makes you a champion. So we've got winning mindset, we've got integrity. The third one is selflessness. It's a we before me attitude. Our success as a whole are far superior. Our successes as a whole, are far superior to mine alone. So the way that we model this in our program is really multifaceted. But I'm huge on gratitude. Okay, I make sure that the people around me constantly know how much I appreciate them. It might even become obnoxious to them at times, but I want them to understand that their value and their value add to our program is huge, and I could not do what I do every day, and we as a collective group could not do what we do every day without them. And so for me, I know that people who feel valued will run for a wall for you. And that same thing goes for your players. And you have to always tell them. Don't assume that people know. Oh, same thing in your relationships. You didn't know you were going to get some marriage counseling here today, but you have to tell people in your relationships, any relationship you're in, how much they mean to you, because oftentimes we assume that people know, especially when we've been together for so long, whether it's a staff, whether it's your team or whatever. But everyone loves to hear positive things. And so when we kind of have those positive reinforcements, it's a huge thing. I talked to you a little bit before about making sure that when we hire really good people who are also winners. They have to have high character, and then also I want to make sure that they're really good at their job, because if they're really good at their job, then I can give them the autonomy to go and do their job. I'm not going to have to micromanage them. That's a huge thing. I don't like to be micromanaged, so I feel like I go out and find people who are really good, they have passion, and they have pride in what they do. They're going to go out and do it to the best of their ability. So one thing that I actually, as I was preparing for this speech, that I decided I'm going to start doing every day before practice, we stand around the circle, the jump ball circle, and I'll usually talk to them about something that's I read, or something inspirational, or a challenge, or something of that nature. But something I'm also going to institute during that time is called gratitude checks. I don't know if any of you have read, what's the bus book? Energy Bus by John Gordon, if you haven't. Great book. But he talks about gratitude walks in there, and he takes these walks, and he just really talks to himself about what he's thankful for and what he's grateful for. And so I want to periodically ask people in our circle, what are you grateful for, and what are you grateful about, someone else in the circle? But we're not going to do it every day. We're going to do it periodically, because what I found is when you are ready for something, you prepare, and then you're able to kind of spit it out. But if you don't know what's coming, you're constantly preparing. So you're constantly thinking about what you're grateful for from the other people. So it takes the it takes the attention off of you and what you're feeling, and you're thinking about the other people. Man, I really appreciate so-and-so because they always come with energy. I appreciate, this teammate because she dives at every loose ball. You know what? She checks on me when I'm down, or I might have like a little bit of bad body language, whatever it is, but you're constantly checking in. I'm really grateful for Coach Mo because she comes in and she sings to us every day. It doesn't happen, but I'm going to start after this thing. You guys set me on a path. I might not be a coach for long, but this song, I'm taking the show on the road. I'm just telling you right now. But we want to make sure that we understand that we have an incredible privilege. Thank you so much, Teresa. She's coming with me too. It forces us to, be conscious and vocal about the incredible privilege that we have to be together each day doing something that we all love. The awareness and selflessness is a learned behavior. It needs to be practiced. And since we are all inherently selfish people, we have to make sure that we practice this gratitude. So we have winning mindset, we have integrity, we have selflessness, and we have communication. Communication, we are united by a culture of communication. We recognize the power of verbal and nonverbal communication in addition to one's capacity to listen. Active listeners is something we really talk about, okay? Not only do we call names, do we count, and do we get excited for other people's successes, but we cultivate a culture of over-communication, where everyone is included. So much of success is really built upon communication, right? So how do I over-communicate? For me, my team and my staff is my family. And we were recently working with Russell Wilson and his brother on this new venture they have called Limitless Minds. And so they've worked with companies, but now they're working with our team. And they had this really great speaker come on and talk to us, and he talked about family and the acronym for family. Forget about me, I love you. And so, right? So, so we absolutely are going to adopt that within our team because it's so simple and yet so poignant. Forget about me, I love you. We're family. So anyone who touches our program, in my mind, is family. And so to me, the key to inclusivity, and again, people feeling valued, is communication. They have to know what's going on. They have to feel like they're involved. And so we over-communicate. So not only letting people know the plan, but we also have to let them know the why, right? We want to tell them that you're our team and you're in our family. We don't get to choose the family we're born into, unfortunately, for some people, right? I mean, some people would be like, I would probably not choose them to be in my family. But in this family, we do. And I really hold that, again, as a huge responsibility to make sure that the people that are in our family really fit with the core values of who we are. So I also want to make sure that, again, give constant feedback, constant communication, never assuming that people know what I want or what I'm thinking. When you communicate, you also have to communicate what they did well and what you would like them to do differently. How many times, and this is a rhetorical question, but how many times have you been like, why'd they do it like that? Well, oftentimes, we didn't tell them how we wanted it done. We just assumed that people knew how we wanted it done, and now we spend more time being frustrated that it didn't get done in the way we wanted it, as opposed to giving clear and concise directions, right? There's two reasons why people don't do things. There's two reasons why people don't do things. Either they don't know how, or they don't feel like it. So, we get to coach, and you all get to interact with these millennials, Generation Y. And when I was thinking about this, it's actually Generational Y, W-H-Y. They are always asking, why, right? I'm going to trademark that after the speech. So, but so many people that I coach with, coaches that are older than me, they get so frustrated by that. Because when we were growing up, because I said so was the answer to that. If someone said why, because I said so. I told you to do this, and you do it. Well, with this group, it's always like, why, right? Why? I want to know why. Yep, she knows. So for me, again, the reason why people don't do things, either they don't know how or they don't feel like it. So I meet you where you're at. I'm going to explain exactly why we're doing this and what I want you to do and how we're going to do that. Because once I've told you, the only reason why you don't do it is because you don't feel like it, and that's unacceptable. So beat you at your own game. You want to know why? I told you why. Now you're not doing it? Okay, please leave the gym, right? Because they have to understand that in order to be a part of this, you need to do it the way that we're saying. The last piece of this, right, is legacy. And to me, this is so critical because all of those things, winning mindset, integrity, selflessness, communication, that leads to our legacy. And oftentimes, this word is kind of a throwaway word. People, oh, I'm going to have a legacy. I want to leave a great legacy. But what I think we forget sometimes is that you're making your legacy every single day. Every single day is leading to what your legacy will be. So we don't wait till the end of whatever it is that you're doing, and then we look back and say, oh, that was my legacy. You work towards it every single day. So today I get to be a little bit more of my legacy, and the next day, and the next day. And so then you build this really great legacy in the end. And so for us, we talk to our players about how we stand on the shoulders of the women who came before us. Because whether they were winning programs or not, they went through and they committed to being Badgers. And so for us, we have a great responsibility to those women to make sure that we continue to move the program forward, that we take the onus and the responsibility that, you know what, for us to become champions and for them to feel like, you know what, I love being a Badger, it's important that they feel connected. So our alumni relations is really important. Making sure, again, we communicate with them to know that once a Badger, always a Badger, that they feel like that legacy that they left is now going to be a part of the legacy that we continue to build. The last thing I'll share with you is, and I do appreciate you laughing because that made me feel good in my soul. The last thing I'll share with you is, for me, coming to a program like the Badgers is an incredible opportunity. My mom was born in the Berkshires, Massachusetts. There was one black family in her town growing up. She didn't have any black friends till she was 15. Clearly, she married a black man, because look at me. My father, spoiler alert, my father was born in Guyana, South America. He immigrated here when he was 17 years old to Boston and with his father. And ironically, my mom and my dad actually lived on the same street that I lived in when I lived in Boston. Just kind of coincidence, or maybe not. But I tell you the story of where I came from because, to me, that's what's made me. My father's immigrant roots, they forced him to believe, not they, the experience forced him to believe that at any point, all of this could be taken away from him, that he could be sent back to his country, and that he would no longer be an American. He became a citizen in 1995 before we went back to Guyana for the first time when my sister graduated high school. But he instilled that in his children, that at any point, anything that you're doing can be taken away from you. And that's what drives me. That's what drives me to be a champion, because I don't take this for granted. For me, every single day that I wake up, it's a gift. It's an opportunity, and I also have a responsibility to make sure that what my father sacrificed by coming here and then meeting my mother and being a part of a couple who was definitely not accepted in the 70s when they got together, to me, that was really important. My mom's input to me, besides a little bit of lack of melanin, was she always was constantly forcing us to think about what was next. What's happening next? What's next? And it made my sister and I consummate problem solvers. So you put those two things together, a person who's constantly solving problems and a person who thinks that, you know, nothing's guaranteed and being taken away, and that's when you build a champion. And for me and everything that I've done, it's always been about excellence in everything we do. I take this as a great honor and opportunity to be part of the Badgers, and I promise you that we will build a championship program and we will be champions here. Thank you so much. Q&A. Okay, I've got answers.
We've got questions for you. I'm Jason Ilstrup with Downtown Madison, Inc., and I'm on mic duty to help you out with your questions today.
Thank you.
And the best part about mic duty is I have the mic in my hand right now.
Okay.
So as a proud alumni of Boston University, class of 1999,
Nice!
welcome to Madison. If you need anything at all, let us know. Go Badgers and go Terriers.
Yeah.
All right, who has a question? Right.
You take it first, I gotta get.
Oh!
I love your energy too, by the way,
Hey,
Coach.
I love your energy. We've
Well, there you are,
got
Jeremy.
athleticism as former Terriers. I'm ready. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, that's fair.
Awesome speech. That was amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Question about underdogs versus like the dominant team, right? So you spent time at UConn.
Yes.
You brought Boston College to be.
University, but it's fine. It's all good. Boston University. Yeah, there's a difference. We'll see you in the parking lot. It's fine.
There's a lot of doors out of this place. Do you have any thoughts on the difference between like how you do well as an underdog versus how you do well as somebody who is known to be successful? And in particular, I'm interested in thoughts on like the second one, like advice for somebody who is not an underdog but wants to like do good and do right and be like productive without being able to have that motivation to unseat the powerful as your motive.
Yeah, so I think to me it's really about you're not competing with those people, you're competing with yourself. That we, at Connecticut, we would always say, no matter how dominant we were always trying to chase perfection, and we were competing with the game of basketball itself. So I think the standard has to be different, right? If you know that, hey, that's not where we're trying to get, we're trying to be the best we can possibly be, then that's what you're chasing, our best version of ourselves every day. And then the next day, because you have one more day of experience, it's better. So now you're chasing that. And eventually you can probably ascend to become that dominant thing, but first and foremost, you have to make sure you're competing within yourself.
Thank you for joining us, Coach. Both Kelly Sheffield and Yvette Healy have spoken to us before, and I have found both of their talks remarkable. I would be delighted to be coached by either of them. And the question is, what is there to be learned from the Wisconsin women's coaching staff that's of value to you?
Okay, well, first of all, was mine remarkable? Would you be delighted to be coached by me? Otherwise, I cannot answer that question. I'll wait. No. No, I think that I've been able to actually, Yvette was part of my interviewing process, so got a chance to meet her, and she was wonderful, and obviously what she's built with softball is incredible. Kelly and I have actually been in constant communication here. We were talking a little bit about recruiting. I think there's so much to gain. What they've been able to do to kind of transform those programs and to sustain champions, that's the big key, right? It's not just kind of doing it once, it's being able to sustain it. And so I look forward to picking their brains and seeing like what's worked here, but also bringing in the experiences that I've had, because I think sometimes having new ideas and new energy is also a great value add. I'll see you in the parking lot as well. Okay.
Welcome, Coach. Welcome to Madison.
Thank
I
you.
have no doubt you're going to do great things. You said that you can only do so much with the players you have, and that's always kind of true in sports. For the last 10 years, as you mentioned, the Badgers have been struggling a bit. For the last 10 years as well, I know that they've lost the top women or young lady in high school. They keep losing out on the first or second player in the state, and I'm not dismissing any one of the players at all, but how are you going to go about locking down the borders of the state to keep those top couple?
That's the first time I've gotten that question, so thank you for that. Just kidding, that was sarcasm. But no, yeah, exactly. Who brought this guy? Was he a guest? But no, for me, obviously keeping the best Wisconsin players home is really important. I think that we have to also be realistic that in 4 months here, one of the top players in the country right now, I think it's no surprise, is in Germantown. And so we've had her on campus, we've done everything, our due diligence at this point. However, at the end of the day, people want to be part of winners. So we have to put a winning product on the court, and that's going to attract kids who want to play, yes, there's Badger pride, but also they want to win. And so I think that you have to put those two combinations together. And like I talked about, that's something that we absolutely will do, and it will attract. And I think that we've already started to make some inroads with changing the culture and also getting to know those kids and their coaches. But the proof's in the pudding, right? You can say what you're going to do, but now you have to actually execute that. And I think that's going to allow us to really close those borders up even more.
More questions? Just so you know, Coach, that question did come from a judge.
I felt a bit judged, so it's fine. It tracked.
Well, from
all of us at Rotary, thank you very much, and we're going to send it off to our president, Teresa.
Thank you.
Well, Coach Mo, I personally think that you were good before you got up because the president forgot half her script today. But that's good because you entertained us quite well. So, and thank you for speaking to us today. Rotarians, we are adjourned.